You know that room you had set up, Pyro? And it'd be cool if you could have that, except the kind of the third box on top where there's like a judge who could silence you at certain points and kick people at other points, and I think that'd be cool.
Moderation is good. You know, especially a clock. I like a clock.
Well, yeah, I've wanted to write something like that for a long time, but so long ago it wasn't possible.
You know,
but
especially a clock. Sorry, I didn't mean. Sorry about the lag. I gotta compensate for the lag. Sorry about that. So just say, yeah, I think a clock would be good too. So that's what I was saying. It'd just be nice if people were timed, and then you could see, you know, make sure people didn't steal the floor and all that crap.
Pyro, do you think that you're writing an audio book?
Shut up, old hacks. Turn off your mic, box master, push guy, or whatever you are. Turn off your fucking mic. I'll have to kick you. Come on. Come on, you little fuzz brain. Come on. Alright, we'll give up on you. Just shut up, old hacks. Your mic open, you dumb moron. Jesus Christ, will you just shut up?
Did you catch that, Pyro?
Hey Gary, would you kick some of that dead weight, some of those... I think Pyro's lagging out because there's too many people docked in or something. Some of these porn videos.
Well, it's not that many porn videos. I don't see any porn videos now. So what? I'm going to kick the good cooking thing. I don't think that's the problem, but whatever. There's a couple of docks open.
Pyro, are you writing an audio philosophy book?
Audio philosophy?
He's making a video DVD, okay? He made a video about it, explaining it. Will you just shut up, old hacks? You're not even on the fucking subject, okay? So just shut up.
What subject? I'm asking him a question.
Yeah, well, it's a stupid question, but you obviously don't watch his videos. He explained what he's doing. Well, you obviously don't, or you wouldn't ask the dumbass fucking question. He's not making an audio book. He's putting a collection of his videos together on a DVD. Now, what's so fucking complicated?
I think I will make an audiobook. That's a good idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why don't you make an audio? Why don't you make a CD? Why don't you make a tape recording? That'll be even cooler. I'll make a tape recording. And then I'll put it on vinyl recording so old hacks can listen to it, because he has a fucking record player. He's probably got all the record players left in the United States of America because he fucks record players.
Gary, I'm going to predict that your theory is going to miss a few important points because you just haven't really... I mean, before you formulated that theory, I mean, you've already thought about things where people have done this math you want people to do. I mean, Einstein did a lot of this math in areas, not of the quantum mechanics, but in particulate nature and that white photons are waves and X particles. He was the one of the people that thought they must actually be physical particles, where Planck just thought, oh, it's sort of a feature of the math, the way stuff's emitted. So people have run through a lot of this stuff that you seem to want to reject, but I mean, I didn't do the math necessarily. Well, I did, you know, and redone in physics class. We all done some of it, you know, but you know, it's a difficult thing, but it has been done, and you seem to, you know, in the different size slits, those things have been tried. I've been trying to tell you for years. They did think of making the slits different widths and these kinds of things.
Whose mic is open, or is that music coming from you? But anyway, I kicked the wrong guy because he obviously didn't fix the problem. But anyway, that's the danger of the kicking thing. Yeah, but see, the thing is, though, is Einstein didn't have a foundation for it, okay? I mean, I think that the point is that you can't do the math if you're not accounting for the circumstance. So let's say the circumstance is there's a whole bunch of energy that we can't possibly detect. We can only detect it when it consolidates into a form where we can detect it. So it has no gravity until it's in a certain form. Then it establishes itself as matter. Okay, so I'm just saying, without the conceptualization, your math isn't going to work because it's not going to account. So dark matter isn't really dark matter, in my opinion. What dark matter is, okay, is the energy that is undetectable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I basically believe that is true, that you have this kinds of energy, and only when it comes together in this particular way does it have mass and exert a gravity or distortion. The thing is, you know, the dark matter is only a little bit. There's also dark energy, which is something, whatever, is responsible for the fact that it looks like the expansion of the universe is accelerating instead of decelerating like you'd think. And there's even more of that. 94% of it is this dark energy, which, yeah, I mean, I believe that's what the real version of the many histories thing is about, is that, you know, there is this whole multi-universe where there's all this energy and matter, and it's real stuff, but it's also just in a potential form. It's not necessarily out there being a parallel universe, but it's sort of there as some force, you know, something ready to be focused into what we think of as a real thing. Or
That's the
material
whole point.
thing.
Is why invent another dimension when it can still exist in this dimension? So that's why I don't like that verse stuff. Okay, because you don't need to have another dimension to put it in. It can fit right in this dimension. Okay, it can exist in this dimension, and it does exist in this dimension, is my argument. The one I want to really get your opinion on is the clock speed one. Because I really think this clock speed idea accounts for a lot of stuff. Because just think about even light, speed, and gravity. Think about how those things interact. Like, let's say if you were just a quanta, okay, and you could only move to a space that was, say you were a 5, and you could only move to a space that was a 4 or less, and you would reject a space that was above you, a 6 or a 10, okay, so, and you could only move 4 directions, alright, so gravity could be a component of the spaces being changed. And so if you had a clock speed, then a photon of light, let's say flying next to a planet, would have a choice. He might have a 4 in front of him, and he's a 5, and he might have a 4 to the left of him, or you know what I'm saying, some kind of thing like that. And from the clock speed point of view, yeah, the decision would be made. It was either forward or it'd be sideways. You know, either gravity would have the influence, or either the forward motion of the speed of light would have the influence. You know, that kind of thing. I'm just saying the clock speed thing allows there to be a whole different perspective, and it certainly explains the whole light speed relativity thing in the sense that from the photon's point of view, there's only one step forward. There is nothing else. There's only a step forward. Well, mic on.
I mean, there's systems that work like that.
Mic on.
But what do you mean about the clock speed? I mean,
Well, I did a video with that in it again.
how does you're talking about like a cellular discrete?
No, I'm talking about a clock speed. I'm talking about the universe operating on a clock speed, and the clock speed is the speed of light. Okay, so for every click of the clock, a photon flips like a domino. Okay, that's the distance. So the fundamental quanta, the smallest particle, okay, this thing we call a photon or electron, that takes the entire form of the electromagnetic spectrum, and its wavelength is the length, okay, of how many quanta it has in it. Okay, but each quanta is moving at the speed of light. So it's like a school of fish. They're all moving at the speed of light, but it's more than one thing. All right? And that defines wavelength. Okay, is how many quanta long you are. But each quanta is moving at the speed of light, and the speed of light is just the length of a quanta. And so it can move one quanta forward on every clock tick. Okay, so every click of the clock, it can move only one quanta in any direction. Okay, so the speed, so the relativity problem is in terms of only one quanta in any direction is solved because there's no previous velocity. There's no such thing as momentum from a quanta's point of view. You get me? It doesn't have momentum. It has position. And at each clock tick, the entire universe changes its state, and then the clock ticks again. But there's no real momentum. There's only a state change from the quanta's perspective. So that's all there is. There's a state change.
Okay, well, there's an idea in modern physics that basically says there is a kind of a clock speed because though there's some evidence that might not be the case, but that there is a clock speed because there's the Planck distance, and nothing can go shorter. You know, that's the shortest distance, you know, that can exist. And just like there's the smallest unit of energy, and all photons are multiples of that unit of energy, and so there is also a distance comes out of that, and because energy basically has all the terms in it, right? So you end up getting also Planck time, which is the amount, the distance that a photon goes. Wait, how does it work? It's the amount of time it takes for light to travel the Planck distance. And so that is the clock speed. But here's the thing that's different from what you're saying, I think, is that when you look at that moment, it's not like there's a state and everything has this set state. No, it's this quantum weirdness that you hate so much comes in. And in that moment, everything that can happen in that moment, whatever things could go differently, like a photon being refracted or not, those things all are happening, you know, in that moment, because you can't just have one of the possibilities. And thus there is momentum, because it's not a point that's static, frozen in time. It's an interval that connects the two future and past moments, which are the other possibilities.
Yeah, I know, but we're going to argue this stuff forever, because you're assuming that photons aren't really in a position, because we can't detect the position, and we have to do the probability math and say the dice will roll a certain way over a period of time, that because we've established probability that somehow the dice never roll snake eyes, or the dice never have to roll boxcars, or they never, no, the dice are rolled. There is a position. We don't have to make up all this multiverse bullshit. We don't have to create the opportunity.
Well, actually,
we don't have to create any opportunity for spontaneity or randomness or any of this other crap, and it can be state to state. Okay, the universe is in a state this split second. This, if I stop time right this second, there's a state. Okay, and if I go one quanta of time ahead, it's a state, and you can understand how it got from state A to state B. There will be no confusion. It will follow solid, rigid laws. There will be no need for any universes outside of this one, for any changes to take place on the clock tick. Everything is mechanical, and this is what I'm saying, is when you break this down, the mechanics make it understandable. It's like fractals. All of a sudden, you take something very simple, and you make something incredibly complex. But it's all very simple.
Okay, a couple things I really want to say about that. I mean, first of all, I believe that the photon or any of these particles are things that follow what you call rigid laws. I mean, rigid makes it sound negative, but they're laws. They're patterns that are kept with, and it's a ripple. And what's happening is we see a little slice of the ripple. It's like if something was a sphere. Like if you were you know, if you are blind, then you don't have the whole conception of something. You just have what you know, the part that you can touch. So it's the same sort of situation. I don't know about the it's not that we're inventing a multiverse. It's that it's just our eyes are taking just certain information. So we're just taking we've seen the bigger puzzle in it. And when we say multiverse, Feynman wouldn't say that, and I think a better term is multi-historied. But really, that's just a mathematical technique. It is this universe. That's the point. The two slits, both these separate universes are interacting. They're not separate. We're interacting with them, but for some reason our eyes, it's like if you only had one eye, you see things, you'd see a 2D picture instead of as much 3D information, you know what I mean? Or you don't have eyes at all, then you get a cross-section of something.
So you're still saying, when you say multi-histories or any, I mean, to imply there's more than one history that got us here, okay, that I can't replay it backwards,